All right, so many of you are familiar with 3D Augment from ETC and how it gives you a fairly, good photographic rendering or, a reasonable representation of what things are going to look like. Vectorworks is doing everything in its power right now to save your computer from working too hard. And so what I'm going to show you is going to be very memory intensive for your laptop. So the first thing that I want you to do is to go ahead and save. Go ahead and save your file now. If you haven't saved in a little while, make sure that you save before you attempt to do any of what I'm about to talk about. But I will show you a little bit about what's going on. I have a pretty good machine, but it still bogs it down. Now I'm going to select this first light over here, which I've turned on, and it's this yellow light over here, and I'm sure that many of you, as you've scrolled down to the bottom, you're looking at shutter cuts, you're wondering why gobos aren't showing up, right? And that's because, again, Vectorworks is trying to save you rendering power. And OpenGL is a pretty good approximation of what things are going to look like. But if you want things to actually appear, we need to render in a much higher mode. Now I'm just going to go to my bottom shutter cut, and I'll just give it an arbitrary depth of 50, which is going to be about half. Now it didn't show up at all because I'm in OpenGL. I'm going to go to my little teapot up here, and instead of OpenGL, I'm going to come down here and I'm going to say, let's try Fast RenderWorks, and let's see what it takes. And you can see things get kind of janky, right? Things get pretty jagged. But you can see that shutter that is out there, right? That shutter that we set at 50. If we set it at 80, right, it comes in even more. And if I set it at 40, it'll open up some. I can also assign an angle to that shutter. Let's give it a 30-degree angle. And that angles it that way. If I give it a minus 30-degree angle, it'll angle it the other direction. Now, this doesn't correspond to reality. I can move these shutters much further than I can in real life, right? So let's just go ahead and change that, and let's call that 10 degrees, and let's see how that is. We're getting a little closer. Maybe if we did it at 5 degrees. Now we're pretty close to having a shutter cut on the back edge of our stage playing space. If we want to get a better idea of what it's really going to look like, then we're after Final Quality RenderWorks. And if I click on that, it takes some time, and my machine is absolutely spinning up, right, as it's trying to process this information, right? So Final Quality RenderWorks, Fast Quality RenderWorks. OpenGL is a good, easy approximation for what's going on, and will do more than enough for what we have in store.